Well, it's about 5:45. Temperature is, I don't know, it feels like it's 30 because I'm weak and don't like being cold, but it's probably about 40 degrees. Wind's supposed to kick up out of the north, and we're gonna go to a stand we call the Dead End. We really ought to call it bad luck because so far this year, Chad Van Camp from Garmin had a big 9-point duck him, and I actually had an 8-point come in when I was field testing the TenPoint Nitro 505 and got a funky angle on me and ended up blowing through and you know, wounding that deer. But both of them are still alive. We've got scouting camera pictures a month later. They're both back on this exact spot. They're trolling for does. There's things to eat around this stand, and there's also several other shooters. So hopefully we can break the snide in the bad luck stand, get it back to calling it a dead end again, and we'll see what happens. They're looking right at us. Pretty good 10-point. This was one of the calmest, stillest days I think I've hunted in a long time. I mean, it was absolutely dead quiet in here. Everything was just, every little twig, every little movement we had. Finally, we got some bucks out here. We had 2 small bucks come down the 2-track and sit out there for a long time. And then that 10-point came in and got settled in really, really good right there. And we had what looks like to be, I mean, that was a 25-yard shot according to the Xero here. I think I probably, it looked like to me just slightly back to the left off of where I was trying to aim at, but I mean, it blew through him so fast that it wasn't even funny. And I mean, he ran up this direction here. So, whew, I mean, it was, this is when I sit every time and I'm just kind of quiet, and then all of a sudden I get to shaking after the fact. I mean, I mean, what a gorgeous buck. He's got that curved in look, tall, he's lit up out there in the sunshine. And we knew we would, you know, be sitting in here a couple, 3 hours. The scouting camera has shown all these deer coming in here later in the day. And it's I don't know why they show up later in the day. I mean, a lot of times it's 7 a.m., but here it's, you know, like 9 o'clock in the morning. And wow, you know, Nitro 505 10-point in action. I mean, that's just cold in Texas. Finally got cold this year, and I think we done smoked one. All right, well, it's probably 30, 45 minutes ago since we've taken the shot. We're gonna give it a little bit longer, you know, allowing a deer, depending on what you're shooting with, you know, how long you're going to let it lay is part of the decision making process. You know, hitting them in the heart, hitting them in the lungs, hitting them in the liver, you know, making a bad shot, you know, all of those factor a different time of recovery on how long I want to let a deer lay. And you always want to err on the side of caution, in my opinion, based on what you're seeing. And then you read the sign as well. So we're gonna give that deer a little bit of time. It's cold out here. I'm shaking like a leaf right now. So it's about 35 degrees in Texas, which is cold for me. But our setup right here just worked phenomenal. You can kind of see how it's lit up, the sunshine all around us, but we've got shade right here. I like to be kind of back in the shade. We've got a little live oak bot right here. We kind of set up nearby, and the scouting cameras were showing several good bucks coming in here. And we had one get out there and pose beautifully in the light. A few access actually came in off the creek bottom as well, and we'll recover that deer and we'll have some venison and a story to tell. When I set up these types of spots here, you know, I'm trying to plan and plot ahead for wind and different conditions, and this one sets up really good for a north, northeast, and a northwest wind in this type of scenario, and the sun kind of tracks all the way across this direction here. Jeff and Chad actually were sitting over here about 30 yards to the left earlier in the year, and man, the sun was hard on them, and so we kind of moved it and reset it, and it really worked out perfect for what we were trying to do today. Had a few, you know, young bucks coming running in. Didn't see any does this morning. I was shooting the Nitro 505, you know, for the setup right here, and he got out there at 23 to 27 yards and was just posing good in that sun. And it was amazing. After you take that shot, you start shaking like a leaf, as cold as it is, and a little bit of buck fever running in there, and that never gets old. You know, I don't know how many deer I've shot in my life. There'd be no way to tell, but I just, you know, mid-50s now and still get just as excited when I was 15. All right, we're gonna start easing down the trail here a little bit. We've got a pretty good amount of blood early on. It's always good to have blood. Right up here. Right there. There he is right there. I was like, I know I smell that deer. I could smell something. Did you see him? I looked up and I was like, man, there he is right there. He didn't go 75, 80 yards from where we shot him. That is awesome. How pretty is this, sitting out here in the sunlight like that? Big old body. Ah, that's fun. That's fun right there. Wow. Thank you, Mr. Buck. That's awesome. That's awesome right there. Wow. What a cool buck. He's all busted up from fighting. He didn't go anywhere at all. Good old Brackettville, Texas whitetail right there, piled up. This morning was really fun. You know, we've had some wireless cameras set up right there to be able to send us the cell cameras from Stealth Cam, and we've seen a ton of deer coming through there. And we really haven't had the right winds and the right conditions to get out and go hunt in this spot for a while. So kind of was watching it, and we were going to do something else, and then we saw the weather get a little bit better, and we had that pop-up set up out there perfect for him. I thought, man, let's go. And we got set up in there and had 2 or 3 deer come in, and this guy actually came in, which you won't see on the video, but this Axis and him came in at the same time, and they take off running, and they're spooked. He about jumped in the blind at about 5 yards early this morning, and then circled back around later in the day, and he came in and kind of worked down the old 2-track there. We put the 10.505 Nitro to work and got it done. That is so cool. That is so cool. I love it when they don't go very far and you recover them right away. It sure makes it nice, it sure makes it fun. You know, late in the year you start looking at some of these deer, they get beat up pretty good from fighting, and he's a prime example of one. You know, they've been rutting for probably 30 days down in this part of Texas. A great example, great, you know, kind of that transition country that we're in right here, hill country to the beginning of the South Texas brush, and just a really cool little 10-point. And I've got pictures of this deer. I've got a little bit of background with him, and you know, we've got a cell camera down there that's shown a lot of stuff that's been set up, and we've had a lot of people kind of hunt in this little area, and it's good to kind of get this stand bloodied and have some success. Get the tags on the deer. This actual property here is in the Managed Lands program of Texas, which is a great program whether you're a low or a high fence guy, doesn't matter. This particular place is low, and it gives you the ability to, you know, if you're going to work with the state, hunt earlier with all means and methods and hunt later with all means and methods. And you know, this particular property, we get 12 bucks and 12 whitetail does off of it. We can hunt to the end of February, and we're still right near our main camp, so it's kind of a nice bonus to us, because if, you know, personally, if I wanted to shoot all 12, I could, or we can pass those tags on to everybody else, and you don't hunt off of your normal tags in this type of a program. You use the state provided tags. They work with you to provide a management plan, how many deer, how your feed program's going, what's your deer density on a property. It's really a great program that allows the landowner and the state to work together to create a, you know, a nice asset for the hunters.
That'll do it for this episode of the Yamaha Whitetail Diaries. Yeah, we'll see you next time.